Sima auntie really be like, okay, so what kind of woman do you want me to match you with? And you be like, okay, I want her to be kind, honest, tall, dark hair, a nice smile, and smart. She's gotta be smart. And she'd be like, okay, yes, I have the perfect match for you. Okay. Then she'd be like, who do you want to meet first? I guess Hinge? All right, welcome to Taste Take. If you're new here, I'm breaking down season 3 of Indian Matchmaking, and there will be spoilers. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular taste takers, let's see if I'm gonna give 5 stars. Get it? I said I'm gonna give 5 stars, like I am Indian Matchmaking gonna give 5 stars. Like, is it giving? Never mind. All right, some quick background here if you've never heard of Indian Matchmaking. This is the 3rd season of a show that was created by a woman named Smriti Mundra. Smriti is an Oscar-winning filmmaker who made the documentary A Suitable Girl, which follows 3 young women navigating the complicated world of getting married in India. And actually, Sima auntie is in the documentary. So Smritri's been in like the Indian matchmaking space for a long time. But not only that, she actually hired Sima to help her find a match. Now, she didn't end up finding a match through Sima. She actually had a love marriage with some dude that she met in grad school who wasn't even Indian. But they've been married for 10 years, so good for them. Believe it or not, Smritri's been pitching this Indian matchmaking show idea since 2008, but all the big media companies had the same response. They were like, wow, this is very niche. Does she ever work with Americans? And she had to be like, well, yes, she does work with Americans. They just happen to be Indian Americans. You idiot. I mean, back then, representation was like Nick Cannon wearing a condom. You just didn't see it, but she stuck with it. And Netflix released the 1st season of Indian Matchmaking in July of 2020, back when the head of unscripted content was a woman named Bella Basaria. And it's an Indian American woman, so like, she knew the vibes. Fast forward to today, and we got the 3rd season of Indian Matchmaking with spin-offs on the way, because Jewish Matchmaking comes to Netflix on May 3rd. Listen, just follow your freaking dreams, kids. That's all I'm gonna say about that. All right, let's get into the season. First things first, I'm just gonna address it right away, right in the beginning. If you're coming to season 3 looking for drama, I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you. You're gonna have to go back to season 2. If you're not into just a little more wholesomeness, you might want to just skip this season. It's just a little more drama-free this time around. Now, you might be into that, or you might want a little scandal. I mean, I got a couple moments that I raised my little eyebrows at, but it's nothing like Nadia Gate from last season, so I just want to get that disclaimer out the way. All right, let's go. So similar to last season, we got some returning characters and some new characters. And I say characters, they're not characters, they're real people. They're like singles. Yeah, singles. So we got some returning singles and some new singles. And I guess I'm gonna try to address them in order of appearance as best as possible. All right, so if you watched season 2 of Indian Matchmaking, you might remember that we left off on that cliffhanger. We went to London and we met a brand new single named Priya. But then the whole season just cut off, and that was it. I don't even think they had a 3rd season signed off. I just think they manifested it. So anyway, naturally, season 3 starts right where season 2 left off. First up, we got Priya, and Priya was once married, but she got divorced, ended like 2 years ago. So she's kind of worried about what men will think about her, knowing that, you know, that's her history. Don't worry, Priya, it's not a red flag. In Indian culture, it's basically like unheard of to live with your partner before marriage. So she did that. But then when she moved in with her husband, she realized quickly that this ain't gonna work out. So now she's here with Sima looking for a partner. The most important thing to know about Priya is that since she's British, she calls man buns top knots. And that is excellent. We're gonna get back to her, but I gotta switch gears for a second to make it make sense. We will now be talking about the best person on the whole season, possibly in Indian matchmaking history. That's right, we're talking about Bobby. What a freaking find. Bobby is a math teacher, but because he's from London, he's a maths teacher. Ain't he cute? This dude has so much energy. He might be the most positive person in reality dating show history. I mean, like, he be talking his ass off, but like, you can't even get mad at him. Bobby's parents are also fire. All right, so the first date we see Bobby go on is with Priya. See, I had to make it bring back full circle. Now, Priya told Sima that she wants a guy that's tall and not bald. And Bobby is not bald, but he's also not tall. And that's the first thing she notices when he comes over to meet her family. Now, like, and to be clear, yes, he's not tall, but he's taller than her. So, like, what's the big deal? I can't front. She's still being very nice and welcoming when he's like at her house chilling. But you can tell this height thing is bothering her. And her dad doesn't seem impressed that he's a teacher. What's more impressive than that? Anyway, for their first date, Bobby takes Priya to some salsa lessons. And Priya doesn't say it, but his leprechaun shoes gave her the ick. I mean, they're really like salsa shoes, but she's not feeling it. She does admit that she didn't expect to have such a good time, but here she is, having fun, because Bobby is just that nice. Bobby's whole mission in life, maybe not life, but like in dating, is to avoid getting put in the friend zone. He says all the time, he just gets put in the friend zone. And he's like, I gotta work with Sima to avoid getting put in the friend zone. Priya immediately puts him in the friend zone. You really hate to see it. I know your type is your type, and if you want someone tall, you want someone tall, whatever. But like, I thought they had a good conversation. I mean, he does talk his ass off, and maybe that was like too much for her, but personally, I just think Bobby needs like a nice little nerd. And like, you know, like nerds are in now. I'm not talking about like, you know, the old school Screech and stuff like that, but like just like a nerd who could appreciate what he's bringing to the table and like that he can turn everything into math. Unfortunately, this is the last we will see of Bobby of the whole season, which is a shame. I just wish they showed him like on more dates. I wanted to see if he could get the digits. See what I did? Like get the digits, because it's like math. Back to Priya. I bet she's wishing she didn't curve Bobby, because now she's on this boring ass date with a guy named Jay. Now, Jay was boring, but also Priya said that ice cream was overrated. So y'all both on thin ice. Or I guess maybe I could say. So y'all both on rocky road. He's 38 and Priya thinks it's a red flag that he's never lived with a woman before. Do y'all think it's a red flag? I don't know that I think it's a red flag, but I do think it's interesting for her to call out that being a red flag when she's only lived with one person and it's the only guy she's ever dated. She only had one boyfriend. So like, what if someone said, that's a red flag? Anyway, this date was so bad that he greeted her in the beginning of the date with a hug and a kiss and ended the date with a handshake. You freaking hate to see it. But then Sima auntie hooks her up with a dude named Vimal and he takes her out to a cricket range. Most Americans have no idea what that even is. Okay, real quick, cricket is one of the most popular sports in the entire world. But if you tell it to an American, they will think you're talking a foreign language if you start bringing up wickets and stuff like that. It's kind of twofold why it never got popular here in the good old United States. One, because it got so big in British culture in the 19th century, most British-owned nations played the sport. And since some of us got our independence in 1776, we just wasn't playing that shit. The other reason is that baseball started to take off at around the same time. So we just like ran with that one. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, Priya on her date with Vimal. And this dude has a top knot. She likes that. Boom, second date confirmed. But when they go on that second date, here is when you can see Priya start to lose interest. She says that he put her up on a pedestal and she wasn't having that. The dude was telling her nice things and she wasn't into it. She goes to tell Sima like, nah, I'm not feeling him. He was expressing his feelings way too soon. Not into it. And shout out to freaking Sima, because she's like, girl, go back and give him another chance. And I guess shout out to freaking Priya for even listening to Sima, because she does go out and give him another chance. And they sit down and talk, and she's like, all right, maybe I overreacted a little bit. And also a shout out to freaking Vimal for calling her out for being that. He's like, look, just learn how to accept love. Damn. I didn't expect that from you, bruh, but I respect it. He goes on to meet her friends, and it looks like he passed the friend test. And finally, the best part of any Indian matchmaking season, we are officially back with my man Janardhan, the face reader. Sima pulls up and she's like, I need you to check these two real quick for me. It's Priya and Vimal. And he calls out her divorce, which is crazy. He says that they have a good love connection and they have a past lives love connection. So it's gonna work. They're gonna marry. Now, of course, you could think that this is nonsense, but it's pretty cool if it's real. Next up, we're back with Viral and Ashay from season 2, and they're still going strong. If you remember, Viral's from North Carolina, very strong, independent, successful, you know, like, it was kind of hard for her to date, and she didn't like any of these matches that Sima was bringing to her until she met Ashay. They got some real interesting scenes here, and I'm gonna touch on a couple of them. The first is when they go on that dinner with their friends, and the friends are like, so, how many dates do you guys need to go on to like take it to the next level? Which is like mad nosy. But my man Ashe ain't no punk, and he's answering like a champion. Well, you know, we're just taking it day by day, just getting to know each other, figuring it out, not rushing anything. Viral, on the other hand, is acting like they asked her, how come Pluto ain't a planet no more? It's really because like 15 years ago, they changed the requirements what it takes to become a planet, which is pretty messed up if you ask me. Kind of like American Airlines, where back in the day, you just needed 30,000 miles to become gold status. Now you need 40,000. It's messed up. Honestly, Pluto, I fucking feel you. That was a tangent. Anyway, the big deal with them this season is that Ashe invited her to come to India and meet his parents. And she's acting like it's the most shocking thing in the world. And there was a couple little interesting moments that happened when we were in India. First of all, when she finally meets his parents in India, she's being not that cool. Now, I understand that meeting someone's parents can be intimidating, especially in that culture, but his parents were very chill and very nice. She's barely saying anything. Even Ashe's like, don't you have any like questions for them? Which is like kind of crazy. It's like they're in an interview, you know, at the end of the interview when they're like, so what questions do you have for us? And you're like, yeah, so like, what are some of the defining qualities of someone that succeeds in this role? Even though you really just want to know, like, can I work from home and like take naps? Anyway, Vero's like, no, actually, like, I can't think of anything. I don't have any questions. And Asha's like, yo, you be asking me so many questions at home. Like, what's going on? She has no questions for these people. She just wants to know if they know that their son is always late and that he doesn't read. Honestly, I just can't do the whole insults as flirting thing. After first grade, I just hung it up. But again, his parents just freaking roll with the punches. They were just freaking chilling. Look, Viral, we're out of here. You did enough damage for one day. But actually, no, it turns out she did not do enough damage for the day. Because real quick before we get into the rest of the cast, I promise this is the last thing. So boom, Ashe takes Viral over to look at some jewelry. They're just chilling, kicking it. And shout out to the freaking guy at the store who Ashe was like, hey bro, you got some rings? And the guy's like, you mean for an engagement? Bro, can you just freaking chill? My girl's right here. Anyway, so the scene basically shows that Ashe buys Viral this very nice diamond bracelet. But was it just me, or was her response a little off? Now, I'm not saying she's got to be crying and running around the store, but not only did she not do that, but she kind of just acted like he went to McDonald's and threw in some extra fries for her. I don't know, man. I really like that guy, and I want to believe that she does too. But I got my good eye on both of them. All right, next cast member, we're over to New Delhi to meet Vaishali. And actually, we're not even really meeting her. She was in season 1 because she went on that date with Pradyuman. I barely even remember that. And also, shout out to you, Pradyuman. Like, I hope you and your girl doing good, man. Like, I love that girl. She was fire. Remember her from last season? Anyway, Vaishali was freaking Miss India, so I don't even gotta say much else about much else. But again, it goes to show you, like, number one, people don't talk about this on the show, but like, hiring Sima auntie or people like her is very expensive. So like, a lot of the criticisms of the show is that this is a very expensive practice. Like, what do people do who are not as wealthy? And let's just take a minute to recognize that even if Miss India needs help finding love, you shouldn't be beating yourself up at home if you're trying to find love too. It's not easy, and we shouldn't assume that people that live a certain lifestyle don't also struggle with it, okay? Okay. She also has a crippling fear of living without her parents, so that's not gonna help. The first date she goes on was this dude named Tush, and the shit was going great, which I thought it was. And I was like, damn, this whole season, like, all these dates are just like nice. Like, some of them are a little awkward or whatever, but for the most part, they're just nice. Tush is in the same industry as her. He writes poetry, which is something that she told Sima that she wants. Even freaking Sima was probably like, where am I gonna find some dude that writes poetry? Boom. Finds some freaking dude that writes poetry. Everything's going great. As soon as Vaishali finds out that he's not obsessed with his parents, she's like, all right, I'm over this. I'm out of here. Yep, and we're moving on too. Vaishali, we wish you the best. And in case you didn't already know, all your friends are secretly in love with you. All right, now we're over to California to meet Vikash. Season 3 is all over the place. Isn't it great? Man, so many locations. All right, Vikash is my least favorite person of the whole season. Vikash is an American-born ER doctor. That's not why I hate him. I think it's cool to be an ER doctor, keep saving lives. He's got some issues that we'll get into later in the video. But right away, the first issue is his dancing. It's terrible. And I know Sima Auntie was messing with him because he was like, all right, listing all the stuff that he wants. And he's like, yeah, need someone that wants kids And she's like, yes, I have someone, the perfect match for you. Yes, I have it. And she's like, here it is. And he's like, all right, right here it says she doesn't want kids. Yeah. Also, it was kind of hilarious when she was meeting his parents and their phones couldn't stop going off and they didn't know how to turn it off. Also, he's probably just mad because they're more popping than him. So the first date we see Vikash go on is with this girl named Anjali. And the first thing I said was like, damn, this girl's got some low ass energy. And she has the nerve to say she wants someone witty with a good sense of humor. Like anyone that's like boring and like quiet and like low energy asking for someone with a sense of humor, like how's that fair? Like you just get to slump around all day and be uplifted by some like funny character? It's not fair. Anyway, then she says that her dogs are great judges of character. I hate when people say that. Honestly, your dog likes everybody. Stop it. But the whole time I'm out here hating on this girl, it turns out that I guess she's just shy because she enjoyed the date and she's like, hey, can we go on another date? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. These fools go on 3 more dates. So I'm like, damn, Sima, I think you got your mojo back. Prakash comes back and he's like, not so fast. She doesn't speak Hindu. She's out of here. Sima auntie's like, all right, she didn't speak Hindu. I got something for you. Hooks him up with this girl named Namrata, and she speaks Hindu. Now, remember, Vikash said that speaking Hindu is critical because communication is very important. Now, before I get into what I need to get into, let me just say that this was the cringiest date in Indian matchmaking history, potentially in any reality dating show date history. The secondhand embarrassment I felt made me want to apologize, but I couldn't look away. This poor woman has no idea that he's not into her. So at the end of the date, she's like, would you like to set up another date? Then this dude, in the most awkward way, has to tell her, I think we have a lot of stuff in common. But no, I don't want another date. It's not funny. It's obviously not funny. It's a defense mechanism, me laughing, obviously. So the date finally ends, and this dude, Vikash, has the nerve, the audacity, the unmitigated gall to tell the cameras, honestly, I just couldn't get over the fact that she was just so Indian. Ideally, I would like someone without an accent. Did anyone tell this guy the name of the show? No, did someone tell him like what show he was on? Did someone tell him that he's Indian? Does he know that he's Indian? You're mad that the American Indian girl don't speak Hindu? Then you're mad that the Indian girl is too Indian? The last we see of Vikash is on a date he has with a girl named Janki. And the first question that Janki asks him is what's his favorite color? And I don't know if I'm watching daycare or an adult man trying to find love. This whole date centered on her trolling him for being 10 years older and calling it chemistry. She even asked him, how old were you on 9/11? Which, luckily for us, that's the last we see of Vikash. Maybe he'll pop up on Jewish matchmaking because he has no idea what he wants. You know, I just couldn't get over the fact that she was Jewish. You know? Moving on to another season 2 legend, we're in Miami Beach with Shatal, and her parents are finally meeting her man, Nareej. You should remember Shatal because she was working with Sima Auntie and none of it was working out. She was very much like Viral, like none of the matches were really clicking. It actually turns out that her sister hooked her up with this dude, Nareej. He's a doctor, and I think he's perfect. Her parents are very nice, and of course they like this guy. He's like the poster child for like everything. They were doing long distance, so this season is all about figuring out what's the next step. We find out that she agrees to move in with him in Miami. Hopefully, they're living happily ever after. As the season comes to a close, we have our last 2 new singles, Pavneet and Arthi. The first date that we see her go on is with Tush, and you might remember that Tush is the same guy that went out with Rashali, but she didn't like him after she found out that his best friends wasn't his parents. There's a chance that Tush forgot Pavneet's name, but the evidence is inconclusive. Overall, a pretty nice date. We don't get to see much of this couple, but they do go on another date, and she's complaining that it took him a whole week to text her back. He claims that he lost her phone number and he had to get it from Sima. I don't know if I believe that, and I don't think she believes that, but I don't think she cares, because they went on another date and it seemed pretty nice. That's pretty much all we get from them. We have no idea, and I don't know if there's a season 4 to like follow up, but hopefully she's doing well. She was nice. Then we're back in Miami meeting Arthi. Funny enough, she was actually at that mixer from last season where Nadia couldn't keep her greedy paws to herself. Arthi lost her dad 4 months ago, so she's obviously been dealing with that. But she's also like very career focused. So dating was always on the back burner. The first date she goes on is with Avinash, who we also saw last season. That immediately doesn't work because she's telling him how much she likes to party, and then he's telling her how he fell asleep before midnight on New Year's. Then she's got a Zoom date with Ashman. This dude should be a model. They're vibing out about wine, but that shit quickly crashes and burns when he tells her he could never see himself living in Florida. I don't know that there's a greener flag on the field. We then find out that Arthi met a fitness trainer on a dating app, but he's Muslim. Ooh. Of course she's worried about what her family's gonna think, because apparently her dad told her before he died not to be with a Muslim. I'm sorry, Pops. This dude benches 400 pounds. But no, it looks like they're going great. They've been dating for 4 months. She met his family. He met her family. Then they show this dude actually ring shopping, like for an engagement ring. And shout out to the freaking jeweler at that store. Number one, for trying to save my dog some money. And number two, for teaching us some very important lessons about jewelry. But yeah, the season pretty much ends when we get a nice proposal where Jamal asks Arthi to marry him. I don't think she was surprised, but it was still nice. I'm gonna give season 3 of Indian Matchmaking 4 stars. Yes, I do love my drama. Yes, I do love my scandal. But sometimes you just gotta take a break and celebrate some non-toxic people looking for love. There's so many things to like about this show, starting with how much Sima travels to help people find love. And like, this season did a really good job of covering a lot of ground, from America to the United Kingdom to India. And I'm always so impressed of how they make India look on screen. I've never been to India, but before Indian Matchmaking, most movies and TV shows didn't always make India look like the coolest place to go to. It's like, imagine watching all movies and TV shows about America, but everything is filmed in Ohio. No one would ever want to come here. I'm just playing Ohio. You know I love you. The next thing to love about this show is the parents. Every set of parents in this season was great. I can't think of any parents that they showed us in this season that wasn't fire. And some of the parents in the past have been a little pushy, giving their kids ultimatums and things like that to find love. These guys here, they just want their kids to be happy. It's like, it's just nice. You know, you gotta just, some cultures I think just celebrate elders more than others. Also, I don't know if this is the last season of Indian Matchmaking, but if it's not, never stop showing those couples in between the episodes that talk about how they met and how long they've been married. Just a huge nod to the practice. There's gonna be people that don't come from this culture that are gonna watch this and be like, tuh, I could never. How could you marry someone after only knowing them for a few hours? Well, they've been married for 30 years. You knew your man all through college and your marriage lasted 6 months. I'm just saying, like, let's just reserve our judgments. And it's cool to see Sima slowly trying to like accept the new trends. Like you see her in this season, meeting up with those guys that created those dating apps. Like she's like stepping out. And her own family was trying to tell her like, Auntie, people are just waiting a lot longer to get married. I'm not saying she's like accepting it, but she's willing to listen. It's just always gonna be cool to see dating and marriage from another culture's perspective. The ultimate debate will continue to rage on. Is it love and then marriage, or marriage and then love? Damn. I don't know, I'm just, you know, posing the question for y'all. Indian Matchmaking Season 3 is available right now, exclusively on Netflix. And again, Jewish Matchmaking comes to Netflix on May 3rd. As always, thanks for checking out Taste Take. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. In the comments, what do you think about this season? Was that too hard on Vikesh? Was that a little cringy? Is Bobby the greatest reality dating person ever? Can we get Bobby on Perfect Match? Now that is what I would like to see. Yeah, set that up. Yeah. Thanks for the time, y'all. Peace.